Welcome back to today's video. Today is Friday, November 20th, 2020, and today we're going to be discussing where the votes still remain in the United States. Why don't we have certified results across all of the states in this country? And I just want to point out that we do have some outstanding votes. I believe we have a few million remaining, and currently we are on track to have, we've already surpassed the most amount of votes of any presidential election in United States history. On top of that, looks like we may hit 2008 level turnout in terms of percentages. So American democracy, I mean, we are at a very strong point in terms of turnout. Not necessarily in terms of how the American people trust the election results. We've seen a continuous divide from the Democrats and the Republicans in terms of who believes that the election results are valid, that there was no interference in the election results. So that may seem very reminiscent of 2016, but 538 actually released an article today discussing that in the 2016 election, around 65% of Democrats believe that the election was still legitimate following Hillary Clinton's loss. That's compared to now where roughly 12% of Republicans view the election as legitimate. So it's a very weird time period. When we're looking at the number of people that believe that the election was illegitimate, obviously that is something that is very negative for all of us. I mean, regardless of what political party you are on, just because losing faith in an American political system that has been holding elections for centuries, that's something that should be a warning sign. But that's not what the main focus of this video is on. The video is focused on where the votes remain in the United States. And here is a map from the Washington Post. Thankfully, they provide us with this map. We're actually going to take a look at the turnout map and also take a look at the voting map, just so we can see, if there are states like New York that have a pretty considerable portion of the vote out, what this will actually mean in terms of the respective turnout in these states. I believe every single state except for New York has reported higher turnout than 2016, so that is a very good sign for the American people as well. But here's the county map. I know it may seem as if some of these counties are withholding a number of votes, and it may seem like that in New York, which is true. It may seem like that in Maine, which is also true. But if you're looking at Illinois and you're looking at Nebraska and you're looking at Kansas and Texas, you're asking yourself, why is there so much yellow? Why aren't all of these counties reported? Well, the answer is, just slow ballot counting, absentee ballots that need to be counted, and these counties aren't exactly big. So the reason why you see a lot of yellow and not a lot of, I guess you could say, mint green is because of the fact that these counties are just a little bit slower. They have less people working there, a lot less people in the county itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example of that. In this county, Hale County, Texas, 91% of the expected votes have been counted, roughly 10,000 votes in that county itself. Right above it, 2,000 votes. I mean, as we go up, 64,000, that's one of the bigger counties, 33,000, 9,000, 2,000. So a lot of these counties aren't exactly, I guess you could say, one second, I'm going to turn this off just because it is kind of annoying me right now. Looking at these counties, you would see that, it may seem yellow, it may seem as if the numbers are out, but if you look at the state itself, they have a state map, which is I'm very thankful for. There's roughly greater than 99% of the vote reported in a number of these states. The only real states that are shining stars, I guess you could say, on this map are Maine and New York. I just want to point that out. You may see a lot of these counties, but they are very small in population. There aren't a lot of votes left to count. It just seems as if there's a lot of states that have a lot of vote to report, but it's just because the smaller counties are taking their time in terms of counting ballots. I also think that if you're looking at New York specifically, the Democratic Party may be asking themselves, are they actually going to do considerably worse than what they did in 2016? It's the only state that is above a 5-point swing for Donald Trump. New York, Republican plus 7.7. The Democrats are asking themselves, is this going to hold? The answer is likely no. But the fact that Biden is only ahead by 14.8% is sort of a worrying sign if those were the final results. Obviously, when we're looking at the state-by-state map, Joe Biden is expected to pull ahead by even more significant amount, but with roughly 1.8 million votes remaining, 79% of the state counted, a lot of it from very key Democratic areas. I think the Democrats should be much happier with those numbers. I mean, if we're looking here, take a look at Queens County, New York. Roughly 400,000 votes remain. Take a look at the neighboring Westchester County, roughly 300,000 votes remain around here, roughly 300,000 more in Kings County, New York. Literally everywhere you look, New York County, New York, roughly 200, 300,000 more votes remaining. All of these areas around New York City, literally in New York City, are all going to end up benefiting the Democratic Party in ways that we hadn't seen on Election Day. Now, New York overwhelmingly voted for Biden. Sure, a 14.8% margin of victory is pretty secure. However, when you're looking at the remainder absentee ballots, it's not as if these are going to split to Trump. Absentee ballots already favor the Democrats. They give them a little boost. But in a New York City area, in an urban environment, we're looking at a split that could be roughly at least 70-30 in favor of Biden. And all he really needs to do is just win over 50% of them, and then he would reach 80 million nationwide in terms of the popular vote. On top of that, he would expand his lead in New York, but winning 70-30 seems to be the baseline in these major city counties. And on top of that, it could go anywhere from 70-30 to even 90-10. That's how partisan some of these counties are. So looking at the outstanding vote in New York, that state has, let's look at the turnout map actually, roughly 8.6% less turnout than where it was just 4 years ago. That is because there is still 21% of the ballots to be reported. Now in Maine, we actually see statewide that there are still 9% of ballots remaining, a little bit under 100,000 votes to be counted in this state. Where is it coming from? Well, it's mainly the 2nd Congressional District. A lot of these parts of the 1st district have already counted all of their ballots. We're looking at areas in the 2nd Congressional District. While it may not seem like a lot, when you're looking at them, it does actually add up to a pretty significant amount that we're expecting to see released. And if anything, this region should help the Republican Party, but it is mail-in ballot, so we will see what actually comes of it. So Maine and New York, this is where the main number of absentee ballots, or I guess you could say not counted ballots, because not all of them are absentee ballots, have not been counted. But you can take a look across the electoral map, or not really the electoral map, the United States map. You will see that some of these states have actually finished counting in its entirety. Florida, a swing state; North Carolina, another swing state; Wisconsin, another swing state. So all of these, these 3 states and a bunch of other ones have already said that, 100% is counted. They're only waiting to certify their election results. So Wisconsin, I believe, has begun their recount. They're set to certify on December 1st. Michigan, certified in a bunch of counties, set to certify by next Tuesday. Actually, this upcoming Tuesday. In North Carolina and Florida. Florida's already certified. So a bunch of these states, we are going to see certification come very quickly because they have counted all of their ballots. But if you're looking at this map, you may think that, there are a pretty significant portion of outstanding votes, but that just simply isn't the case. I mean, Colorado has 2% out, New Mexico less than 1%, Arizona less than 1%. A lot of these states are just solidifying their final vote share. Wisconsin, they're completely done. North Carolina, they're completely done. Florida, they're completely done. They're not counting anymore. Some of these states are still counting just because there are a couple thousand remaining votes, but at the end of the day, it won't change much. If you're looking in California, roughly 200,000 votes remaining in that state, so the Democrats will get a little bit of a bump there, but that really won't matter. In New York, we still see 2 million outstanding votes. So pretty significant in New York. We are going to be waiting for those election results, but New York and Maine should be the main focus of where the remaining vote is going to be. We will see if it's possible that Susan Collins goes under that 50% mark and it goes into a ranked choice voting situation. She would still absolutely win that Senate race. I just think that it'd be interesting if that was the situation. I would want to see what happens, just because it's very possible that a lot of those voters that voted for Lisa Savage actually ended up voting for Sarah Gideon on their second ballot. I just want to see if that's something that would actually happen. But since a lot of those votes are from the 2nd Congressional District, I really don't think much is going to change. If anything, the GOP expands their victory there. But that would just always be a very interesting situation. And it's one of the only other states besides New York that is under the 95% reporting area. So there aren't that many outstanding votes in a number of key states. I believe, Iowa and Ohio, the same, with 3% of their votes still to report. But at the end of the day, a lot of these votes have been solidified. Georgia set to certify their results. I believe they actually certified it tonight. If I'm incorrect, someone please correct me in the comment section down below. Let me know. But looking across the entire country, a lot of these results are 99% or greater in, which means that we shouldn't expect too many surprises or any at all. Really, New York is going to get even bluer. Maine could go either way, depending on looking at the outstanding vote, it'll probably lean a little bit more to the right. But all in all, the vote standing out isn't really enough to change anything, number one. And number two, looking at the outstanding vote, we are expecting to see a little bit more in the popular vote for Joe Biden, a little bit more for Donald Trump. But as you can see, Joe Biden is getting very, 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 very close to 80 million. 79.738, Donald Trump at 73.741. So we could see roughly at some point 7 million votes separating the two candidates. Currently 6 million votes separate the two candidates. We could see 7 million votes by the time that all of the ballots have been counted. Like I said, even with this outstanding vote in Maine, Maine has increased their raw vote cast by 8.8%. New York is the only state in this country that has decreased in terms of turnout, the only state in this country that has decreased in terms of raw votes from 2016. So looking at New York, it's probably going to expand. Looking at Maine, it could go either way. I think it'll end up going to the GOP just slightly because of where the outstanding ballots are. But these are the prime two areas that the votes are remaining. The rest of these states, it may seem as if the vote is outstanding, but realistically, it isn't. And it's just maybe a couple thousand, tens of thousands at most for some of these states, unless you're more populous, such as California, or really, another populous state. But generally, the states are characterized because they have anywhere from 95 to 99.99% of votes reported. I don't expect much. There won't be much coming out of these states as we proceed. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord server for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch and then a playlist for my post-2020 election videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.